It's World Press Freedom Day. Hello there and welcome to Herman Manyora's YouTube channel on this 3rd day of May 2025. We're going to talk about politics and what happened with journalists that were arrested by police officers claiming false publication of the Blood Parliament documentary by BBC. I'm here with Herman Manyora. Great to see you. How are you doing today?
Good.
Videographers have been arrested based on false publication, as journalist John Allan Namu puts it, and they are in Pangani today. My conversation with you, I want to start with reaction from government. Is the way to go?
First of all, let me say I don't know they have been arrested. I have no idea. I've just woken up. Still a little under the weather, you know.
Yeah.
So whatever I say, it must be that I don't know. But I'll trust you are saying the truth.
You're scared of being arrested.
Who can arrest someone like me? How? Who can start? Tell them to come. Me, you arrest me, how? Even the policemen arresting me will refuse. Even the cells, the doors will be open like is it Sila or who of the Bible?
Paul and Silas.
Yeah, how can you arrest me? Even if you take me to industrial area, the prisoners will say Manyora has to go home. They will go on strike.
I'm reading from NTV. I'm actually looking at the Blood Parliament filmmakers arrested Nicholas Gishuki, Brian Adagala, Mark Karubiu, among 4 documentary makers. Police have arrested from their studio in Karen under unclear circumstances.
BBC studios in Karen?
Yes.
So it is true?
It is true.
If it is true, then it is, first of all, it is sad. Secondly, it is unbelievable. Thirdly, I think the government has to be getting it wrong. And getting it wrong so badly, we need to tell government, you are getting it wrong. If that is true, it's like stepping on a live wire. Live wire. That's a landmine. How can government walk into a landmine? How can you put yourself up there? Not just for scrutiny, not just for ridicule. I mean, how can you parade yourself across the world? Because if you touch BBC, you are touching the world. And you know what? I don't know what I will do. Why can't government give me this job? And I'm very serious. Why can't government make me head of communication? I will assist them.
Now
I'm willing to do it even for free.
You have changed tune. You are saying
I'm willing to do it for free.
Bashed you, but then you are looking at it and you're just thinking.
I think I can even do it for free because I love this country. You know what? I'm a Kenyan and you are a Kenyan. You know, people had already forgotten about this blood thing.
Yeah.
People had already forgotten. In another 1 week, if you talk about Blood Parliament, people, what are you talking about? People have forgotten about it. So the intention would be to scare. To deter through scaring. Can you scare BBC?
Oh, the intention is to scare so
because there's nothing else you are doing. If you are arresting people from BBC, you want to scare. Because I'm already saying the thing is already... Kenyans are people of massive amnesia. They forget so fast. And we are an episodic nation. Episode comes, we forget another episode. We are an episodic nation. And the government would know that people had already forgotten about the Blood Parliament. So the only reason why they will do it is to deter through scaring. Then the question that must be asked by any logical person, any thinking human being, is, can you scare BBC? You see, I had people talking about BBC. BBC is not a government thing like KBC. BBC receives funding from government, but it's not government. They must draw a distinction between that.
This is what
BBC bashes the British government itself. It is not government. It is government funded, government supported, without being government. Yeah. So you must understand the difference.
I'm reading John Allan Namu's tweet. Been in touch with lawyers at Pangani police station and have been told that filmmakers arrested last night are being charged with false publication in relation to the BBC documentary Blood Parliament. The equipment was confiscated and they were made to give statements without legal representation. This is happening on World Press Freedom Day. Begs a lot of questions about the objective in their arrests. But false publication, Prof, if this is a reason to charge them, we were here in June 25th Their report shows evidence from 5,000 videos and photos that they have captured, trying to see the police officers that killed protesters. False publication, you look at it.
It can't stand scrutiny in a court. It cannot be false publication. I'm not a lawyer, but I know it can't stand. Yeah. Unless you are saying alarmist publication.
Okay.
Yeah? To incite and excite, but not false publication. A true representation of facts cannot be false publication.
Okay.
There were riots around Parliament on June 25th. Is that right?
Yes.
The videos are about those riots. There was breaking into Parliament, carried by all media, social and legacy media, all the media. Is that right?
Yes.
There were bullets, tear gas and everything. Is that right?
Yes.
People were shot. People died. The conclusion is what you can say is wrong. But that can't be wrong, false publication. If someone falls down with a bullet, we can have a conversation around whether it was government who shot or some crook. That is a conversation we can have. If you conclude it is government, without forensic audit, we can debate with you and even take you to court. That we can debate. Who really killed? Whose gun killed? Is it government gun or a crook or some other person? That is something for debate. But to show the pictures and say this is, and to say in my judgment, this is the guy who killed, that is not false publication. You could only be wrong.
Do you think the president's hand is in this? It is 5 days since Monday. Of course, there have been a lot of discussions in government. I saw a presser by Isaac Mora, government spokesperson, who was talking about government was not involved. They were not called to speak in the documentary. Do you think there is the president's hand in this? After all those avenues have passed through the spokesperson, the intelligence, do you think there's the president's hand in this arrest?
I wouldn't say. I don't know. I wouldn't say so. I don't know. But I find it reckless that government should do that. That raises questions. Just how high is the command? Just how high? Who can do such a reckless thing? Can it be an OCS? Certainly no. Can it be some junior officers within ODPP and DCI? Certainly no. But the implications are huge. Therefore, all we can say is that this must be coming from high. How high? I don't know.
What is the danger of harassing press? As Alam puts it, it is actually World Press Freedom Day. What is the danger of harassing the press? I know we were taught we are the watchdog of the society, but what is the risk if you arrest not just Kenyan journalists, now targeting BBC, international media?
You come out very bad. Anybody who has tried to harass the press, especially international press, has come out ugly. You come out looking very ugly. And this will not be good for government. That's why I'm wondering, who is this reckless person? Who is this reckless person? How reckless can one be? Because you are walking into a landmine. You'll be subject of attack from international media. You'll come out looking extremely bad. And many of your friends, and you'll see it, many of your friends, international friends, will distance themselves from you. You'll see Americans coming out. The British will come out. EU will come out. It's going to be a big thing. Those who did it thought it's a small thing, or those who are doing it. But the reactions will prove them wrong. It will show them this is a big thing.
You know, the conversations that happen in those meetings, I remember once you said they usually punch tables. But
Yes.
if you were in that conversation, you started by saying, now it's about time they just talk to you. How would you advise them to deal with this BBC documentary?
I just tell them to ignore it for the time being. In terms of, there are two things you can do. One is not to add fuel to the fire by doing things like those, by overreacting, by even the statements they have been making, including Parliament, the way people, you don't do that. You make sure nobody speaks about things. Secondly, if I was in charge of advising government, I will tell the president to come out and issue a statement and address the people of this country on that particular aspect. The statement heavily laden with empathy and sort of, in a very clever way, accepting that mistakes might have been made. And government might have been slow in reaction. But that government is on top of this thing. I will craft the statement myself for the president. So one, they should not talk about it.
Yeah.
Not in parliament, not Kena Mwaura, not all these small boys. And the two, for the president, because it's not something you can ignore. You come out and talk about it in a well-crafted statement, which I will do myself.
You've said something interesting. It's not something you can ignore.
Yes.
The president hasn't spoken about it.
Yeah, ignoring it may... You ignore it in terms of the reactions from government functionaries and overzealous fellas like the guys you saw in the parliament. People die, we forget, we move on. Those kind of reckless statements. You don't do that. The statement in defense from the, I think, Itumbis, from the Kina KJ you see in parliament, from the Mwauras of this, you don't, this is not an ordinary event. It requires serious analysis before you respond. And only one source should respond. And I think that source is the president. This is a big thing. It's not a small thing. It's an indictment of the government. Something as big as this, you don't let small boys respond. Why am I saying that? I'm saying that because government will need to restructure its communication and link the communication with intelligence. So that intelligence and communication will be working hand in hand. They are one and the same. So the work of Isaac Mwaura is actually an intelligence slot. The communication arm of intelligence, not government intelligence. So you see, Nurdin Haji will have a say in who becomes that communication person. And what they say, there are some sensitive things which government has to talk about. Like you saw when Nurdin Haji, DG NIS, CDF, I can't remember his name.
Kariri.
Yeah, and then Kanja, head of police. That message needed to come out. It was about time that message came out. But who is it coming from? It can't come from them. So you need a well thought out communication strategy with a communication team headed by government spokesman, not Mwaura. Somebody much more serious and is working all this arm with the military intelligence, national intelligence, with the police, you know, because anything that comes from that office is big and some of it could be very sensitive. And some of the matters you are handling, like this one of blood parliament, it requires serious thinking, you know, and you see, it is the military intelligence, the national intelligence, the police, the DCI, you know, they sit down with this person in occupying that office Mwaura is occupying. Mwaura will be given another job. He's a good man. He's my friend, you know.
Yeah.
He will give him a good job somewhere else. Not that one is not his job. He can't do it. That requires a very serious Kenyan who can do it. So it is below me, but for the love of country, these are small jobs. I don't deserve such a small jobs. But for the love of country, I can do it for them. For the love of country, or I can help them select somebody to fill that slot, and I will be somewhere in the system helping to guide that office. It's very serious, and I'm not joking.
Because you're talking about communication, we should also talk about intelligence. Does this mean that the intelligence has failed the president when it comes to the advisory role? Because how can you come and arrest these filmmakers just like that?
You know, this is disjointed. The point I've been trying to make the last 2-3 minutes is we need something that brings the various government agencies together to work together.
There's no synergy.
That's the word I was looking for. Hey, thank you.
Thank you.
You need synergy between the National Intelligence Service, the military intelligence, the military itself, the police, the DCI, and the political wing of government. There are about 6-7 arms that should work together whenever we have sensitive matters to handle. And relaying that matter to the public through a powerful government spokesman office. Powerful. Not given to somebody who failed an election. Oh, kuja pumuzikia hapa. Hapana. Mtu ambaye akifungua mdomo what he says. It's not like the Alfred Mutua when he was there and all these guys who have been there. No. Trying to spin and they don't know how to spin. You know, spinning requires a man like me. Give me, I can spin anything. Anything. In school, my friend, during debate, I could go to any side. I can cross over. Yeah. Me, I can debate on any side. So if you want somebody to spin, get somebody like Manyora can spin for you. The jobs are too small for me, of course. But I'm not the only one. There must be people, and I can direct them to people who can spin.
Then finally, how would you advise government when it comes to now these arrests, the BBC documentary, when it comes to the pulse of the country? How divided are we, or united are we as a country in comparison with how we should be when we're looking at government?
Kenya is divided. The country is divided, no doubt about it. A big chunk of the government is annoyed, angry, and disappointed. And this is not a good state to be in as a country. So whenever government does something which is wrong, a big population, percent of the population, actually a majority of Kenyans, will be bashing government. Government should not allow itself to be bashed by a majority of its citizens. Bashing is normal, but it must be done by a minority.
Or not the majority.
Not the majority. So an act like this, I can assure you, more than 70%, 80% of the countries will be looking at it and wondering what is government doing, and very annoyed with it. Now, this attracts foreign bashing. When a majority of the citizens join foreigners in bashing their own country, their own government, it's not good for any country. And that's why I want to end by saying there is irrefutable evidence now that government seems to be in autopilot. Irrefutable evidence. Government needs to bring order. Government ought to reorganize itself and make sure, for the first time, those driving government agenda have people they listen to. The president ought to have really advisors. Not these people is rewarding, oh, no. I'm talking about really advisors. If you took someone like Manyora, for example, as your advisor on matters of politics or communication, you are sure to get value. So long as you listen to me. When it gets to a point where you just want me to talk and earn my salary, I'll just walk out and go. But government has to listen to people, because what is happening is not good. There is evidence, irrefutable evidence, that this government, the top leadership of the government of the country, seems to be listening to people who are full of cheap politics, simple, small, little cheap politics. People, the ones I said who bang the chest, we shall show them we can't. You can't run government like that. Government is somebody you beat and they are not listening. You are beat. They don't react. What did Moi say? And now I keep going back to Moi. Moi alisema ningekuwa na roho kama ya panya. Because the things people say about you when you are president, the plans because you have intelligence, you keep discovering and unearthing plans by people to destabilize your government, to do bad things to your government. Moi alisema ningekuwa na roho ya panya, hii nchi ingechomeka. Ningesema pap. That is Moi. So government ought not to be reactionary.
That's the word.
That's the word. Government has to be cautious, to take time, to gather information, to put the ear on the ground and listen, to weigh things before they act. Arrest of the Blood Parliament journalist does not indicate there was any thinking
by government.
Thanks
for tuning in. Leave a comment down below. What do you think is the current state of the country with regards to unity or division based on the arrest of Blood Parliament journalists? Have yourself a lovely rest of your day. Have a great weekend.